Hello, good morning and afternoon, depending on what part of the world you are watching in. If you're watching on your TV, you're watching on the Smart Money Culture TV network. Hats off to my main man, Fly Mackey, the man with the plan for putting it all together. We will be live across the United States starting very soon, I believe, in a number of weeks. 37 million people, be in front of 37 million people in your homes, on your TV. I love social media. I've always loved social media, but there's a reason why they keep you off TV, and that's because the ROI is through the roof. The ROI on TV is through the roof. $7 for every $1 spent on TV. That's the ROI. That's the real numbers. People watch TV, and we are happy to be on it. As well, we are happy to be across platforms on LinkedIn, YouTube. Trying to get this Rumble thing started. A little tricky. Instagram, Facebook, and the rest. Crazy time that we have right now. Of course, rumors are swirling that Joe Biden is in hospice, that he's not going to make it through the night, or he wouldn't make it through the night. I guess now is the morning. It is 6:18 here on the East Coast of the United States, here in the Capitol. Rumors started swirling last night as global impact news or global news. I'll pull it up exactly who they are so I don't mess up who it was. Reported that he was in hospice and they had that he wouldn't make it through the night, and that they had a real source that was there. Now, circulation, of course, has been swirling on Joe's health for quite a while. It has also been swirling that the way that they got him to drop out of the race was by threatening a 25th Amendment, that Kamala Harris was going to pull a 25th Amendment on him, which would mean that she would declare him unfit for the office and take over and start making appointments. Now, that is really, just a very interesting series of events because a number of reasons. But one, the letter, I don't know if we noticed, and I did read it on air yesterday, but it wasn't even on the White House. It wasn't even on the White House letterhead. Now, think about it. Now, I'm sure that you probably have a career or someplace, and you may write memos or something. And if you're going to write an official memo, you put it on your company letterhead. And so the thought that even there would be a memo that came out from Joe Biden pulling out of the race on not the official letterhead is just weird. I mean, it's just weird. Even if he didn't write it, which is probably true, he probably didn't write it. Why in the world would they put it out on not official letterhead? Like, it's just weird. It's weird, guys. Really weird, just like the rest of everything that happened. I'll tell you, one of the weirdest things was everybody like you and me and everybody else sitting around and not doing anything in 2020 when this all happened. It's crazy. Q was a big force behind that, telling everybody that it was okay not to worry, that the White Hats were in control, and that is very obviously a CIA or whoever operation to make everybody not worry about things. And oh no, don't worry, guys, don't worry, we're in control. Now, that being said, Trump told everyone to go home on January 6th, or whoever, probably Trump, though it looked like Trump. And he has pretty much, I guess not said it wasn't him. So Trump told everyone to go home, and they did. And Alzheimer's goes last, stage 7, from Instagram here. My friend Leah, signature is strange. The signature is strange. Q is not real. It's time to worry. I agree with you 100%. It is a big time to worry. Q is it's controlled opposition. It is. I've said it from the beginning. This is controlled opposition. And as well, the guy, the Q, showed up. Anyway, I know him, and anyway, it's controlled opposition, and it made everybody sit on their hands and not worry about it, and it worked, and here we are, however many years later, 3 or 4 years later, and there are still people going around that are telling you that Trump is still in control and everybody's been executed, and all this stuff. And it's just it's crazy talk, guys. Like, it's crazy talk. That nobody is coming to save you. And that's what I said years ago. Nobody is coming to save you. You have to save yourself. Even if or when Trump gets in office, he's going to have all kinds of different people that are pulling on his strings and wanting him to do stuff. Very, very powerful people, very professional people, people that are a lot smarter and have a lot more time on their hands in order to push their agenda forward than you do. I won't say they're smarter than you, but they have a lot more time to push their agenda forward than you do. And so to think that even Trump is going to get into office and save you, I got news for you guys. It's not the way the world works. Unfortunately, it's not the way it works. You have to save yourself. We have to save ourselves. Especially for, I feel like, my generation, Generation X, although I'm a bit on the cusp to the next generation, whatever that is. But my guys in our 40s, I feel like, especially us, we have to be the ones to really push this forward. And everybody, I'm not turning anybody away. Obviously, we need the younger guys as well, and we need the older guys too. It's really important. But we have to save ourselves. We have to save ourselves. Is there a coup afoot right now? Is there a coup afoot? So we haven't seen Joe in days, right? So first of all, we have the attempted assassination. Not first of all, I mean, it's just where do you start, right? But we have the attempted assassination of President Trump. We have now, of course, Secret Service, and everybody is just stonewalling. That hearing on Capitol Hill yesterday, she should be hauled off to jail. And Congress has the power to do that. And I put out a post yesterday, and I said, it's all just a show. Now that's a show, not like Q. Oh, it's all just a show. Okay, that's a show. That's a show, because nothing will happen. And Congress has the power to arrest people. They could tell the sergeant at arms, I think is his name, to arrest her. She's not being truthful. She's not answering our questions. I mean, how in the world can you be in charge of the Secret Service? Of course, we're looking at, I guess, a DEI hire there, apparently, obviously. And how can you be in charge of the Secret Service and not be able to answer any questions? Oh, I'm waiting 60 days for an investigation, and this investigation, and oh no, I don't know about that, and I'm not sure about that, and well, I couldn't answer that. And for Congress to sit there and accept it is unbelievable. It's unbelievable, guys. I mean, for me, it's par for the course. I've been in this town for a long time. Got quite jaded in the process. Maybe one day I'll make a bigger move, but it's unbelievable. Like, the whole process was, the reality is, and that what everybody needs to understand is that the whole process was literally just for sound bites. It was like for the media. It was for all these mainstream media guys and X and everything else to have a lot of different sound bites and a lot of different videos to play and make money. And that's all it was good for. Nothing will come of it. And Mayorkas is supposed to be in charge of the Secret Service totally. And of course, his name just gets, floated around, whatever. So whatever about Mayorkas, right? And then you have, and then Sheila Jackson Lee is dead. Sheila Jackson Lee is dead. 72-year-old woman. No real, what'd she die of? So weird. Didn't even hear about it, right? Now, Sheila Jackson Lee was a representative of Congress, and she was just as whatever is the rest. I don't like dancing on people's graves, so I don't know her, so I'm not gonna really go on about that. But she was involved. She had oversight of the Secret Service, and all of a sudden she's dead. Sheila Jackson Lee is dead, and she had oversight of the Secret Service. Hold on a second here. Sheila Jackson Lee. She's former now. She's former. So 74. She was 74. I mean, 74 is young, guys, to be passing away, I think. At this, especially if you're a woman. I mean, us men, we really burn the candle at both ends, let's face it. And I guess some women do as well. Good morning. Okay, and back over here to Instagram with my friend Leah here. I got a couple people. The right needs to do protest marches. I agree. This is what I've been saying for so long. Like, everybody just sits around and does nothing. And it's crazy. It's crazy. And everybody, I'm scared to come to DC. Well, guys, they can't arrest everybody, okay? They can't arrest everybody. Even if they want to. And trust me, they do. But they can't arrest everybody. There were millions of people here on January 6th. They arrested a couple hundred people. And we didn't do anything about those people. That was one of the beginning of the ends there. So anyways, Sheila Jackson Lee is dead. She was overseeing the Secret Service. Oversee Secret Service. Let me just see if it gives me a nice report here on this. Well, and it was really interesting, guys. It was really interesting that the Secret Service director even mentioned Sheila Jackson Lee, because like most people were not really aware. And so for her to mention it, I think was a shot across the bow to anybody else who wanted to possibly cause a ruckus. I mean, why else would she mention it? Very odd. Here's what she said. This is the Cheetah Chigarkis, whatever her name is, Secret Service DEI. I'm not getting an audio here. Hold on a second.
I would like to offer my sincerest condolences to the family of Corey Comparator.
I'm going to bring this back. Here we go.
The assassination attempt of former President Donald Trump on July 13th is the most significant operational failure of the Secret Service in decades, and I am keeping him and his family in my thoughts. I would like to offer my sincerest condolences to the family of Corey Comparator, a former fire chief and a hero who was killed in this senseless shooting. I would also like to acknowledge those who were injured in Butler, David Dutch and James Copenhagen, and I wish them a speedy recovery. I would be remiss if I did not also extend my condolences on the passing of your colleague, Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee. Ms. Jackson Lee was always engaged in the oversight of the Secret Service, and her passing is a great loss to this body. The Secret Service's solemn mission is to protect our nation's leaders. On July 13th, we failed. As a direct
old Cheetos there. And I agree with you, Leah. And for some reason, I can't put I don't get your messages so they can put them up here on the show. I would. Of course, her replacement's going to be worse. And just like Kamala's worse. It's like, that's one of the art of war. It's like you create a problem and just instead of like pushing it down everybody's throat, what you want, you create a problem, or you create a situation where it's like A or B, but either way you win. Either way is what you want, right? So Kamala's worse than Joe, I think. I don't know if you can be worse. She's worse. So I guess she'll be 47. I don't see any way in heck that Joe is finishing, whether he's alive, dead, or whatever. If he's dead, I mean, let's face it, we all think that they just pushed that through. It's crazy time, guys. It is crazy house. Let me talk a little bit about our, let's see, Coin Vigilante, our watches here. Coin Vigilante. We love these Coin Vigilante watches. I wear these Coin Vigilante watches. Wonderful watches. They are American made timepieces. They are inspired by the Bitcoin monetary revolution. Coin Vigilante. You see that big B right there? They are beautiful watches. Got one for my wife as well. Go to coinvigilante.com, and you can get these. Use Impact Money for a 10% discount on there. My friend Carlos, he is the man over there. And just to show you my timepiece here. Beautiful. Let me just pull this down. Beautiful watches here. They really are nice watches. Look at that. Big Bitcoin on there. This is a they're all limited edition. He sold out of the ones that were for the halving, and he'll probably sell out of these editions as well, and then move on to the next edition. Go over there, go to coinvigilante.com. Get your Bitcoin watches, Coin Vigilante. Beautiful timepieces. American made quality. Yes. So anyway, Sheila Jackson, she's in charge of the Secret Service, overseeing the Secret Service, and she's dead suddenly, right? Memos right now are being used to transfer authority to cabinet members. One of the things that they transferred was aid to Ukraine. Aid to Ukraine is such a weird way of saying it, because really that is, that's their money laundering deal. Okay, war is money laundering. That's the way it works. Israel's the same way. People get emotional about Israel. You have Netanyahu here in town. He's going to go to Congress, and they're going to tell you that they need another $100 billion. And that $100 billion is going to cost your family about $2,000. And you're going to feel it in inflation, because there's no money anymore. The government doesn't have any money. They haven't had any money for a very, very long time. There's no money. So they will tell the central bank that they need them to give them some more US dollars, and the US Treasury will print the dollars, and that will dilute the money supply and make inflation go through the roof. And that's the way it works. The federal income taxes is really just the burn. They don't need that money. It's not like they use that money for something. That money comes in, and it's whatever sent to the Treasury, and then they print new whatever they want. That's the way it works. That's the way our money system works right now with the Federal Reserve, this privately held central bank called the Federal Reserve. And it's run by a cartel. It's the central banking cartel, and they run most of the central banks around the world, and they've been able to make themselves very, very wealthy. And you have people, and here they are. Oh, wrong one. And you have people like Netanyahu who comes in, because they're all if they're not carrying Israeli passports, they're de facto Israeli, because of course anybody that's Jewish can be Israeli, right? So that's the way it is. So they're all Israeli or de facto Israeli. There they are. That's the names right there. You can look them all up. So Rothschilds, Rockefellers, the Morgans, the Warburgs, Goldman Sachs, Lehman, Kuhn Loeb, Lazard, Israel Moses, Seth, Schiff, and Stillman. Those are the families who own the Federal Reserve. And if you Google it, they'll tell you that nobody owns the Federal Reserve, but that's a bunch of baloney. If you think that those families are going to start a bank and not own it, sit back down and think about it a little more, okay? So it's held by some private banks, and the other banks below, well, they own those banks, and you know what I mean. It's not hard to figure it out. Those are the families that own the U.S. Federal Reserve. and they have the ability to tax you indefinitely, as much as they want. There is no, they can do whatever they want. They can put interest rates wherever they want. They can dilute the money supply as much as they want. They can print up whatever they want. They can fund whatever they want. And that's why our country is not operating in the correct way. And that's why I support guys like my main man, Thomas Massie, right here, who has a bill in Congress to end the Fed. And he actually put out a post last night, and he said that Mike Lee also has a bill in the Senate to end the Fed, because the great Elon Musk put out this post. So here's this post. Let me just share my screen again. And then we're going to get into the markets. The markets are a bit mixed. Matt is going to dive into that a little bit here. And the Fed. So first of all, Elon put out this. He said, this is where we are with the dollar value destruction. Where are we with the dollar value destruction, you might ask? And Elon dances around, and, I get it, I guess. But so we had a silver dollar. Then we had silver certificate. And then we had this Federal Reserve note of dollar. Okay. And then he says, we're here. And now we have this $50 trillion Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe, all right, which is $50 trillion. And then he has a bullet there. You can kind of put that together, right? So then Thomas Massie, my man Thomas Massie, responds, and the Fed, Mike Lee is his handle, has introduced the bill in the Senate, and I have introduced the bill in the House, and the Fed. And if you follow me on X, you will see that I have "and the Fed" in my bio right here. And the Fed, and the Fed. We have to end the Fed. We have to end the Fed. We have no choice but to take the power back from these people. If we don't take the power back from these people, we will never have a country. These people right here, you probably don't even know any of them. You probably don't even know one. And they rule us. And they have total control. And that's why we can't stop Congress from spending money. Because they don't need to take it from you. These guys take it from you. And they just do it by diluting the money supply. And that's why inflation's through the roof. And that's why eggs are double. And that's why you can't hardly, that's why your grocery bill is double. And that's why, you go you go skiing, it's like quadruple what it used to be. You go ice skating, it's like 4 times what it used to be. You go and do things, it's like inflation's through the roof. It's through the roof. 2% inflation. Yeah, right. $34 trillion in debt. It's all just funny. It's all funny, right? So they print up this next $100 billion that they print up, which that's going to be Netanyahu's deal. That's why he's here. He's another $100 billion. They sent in his cousin Zelensky the last time. They need another $100 billion. $100 billion is a lot of money, guys. It's a lot. It's a lot of money. Out of that $100 billion, they make $3 to $5 billion off of that. That's what they get. Just to print it up. They do not have the money. The government doesn't have the money, and they don't have the money either. They have to take it from you, and they take it from you by diluting the money supply. That's how they take it from you. They just take it, they mint it out of thin air, and then it dilutes the money supply as the people spend it. And again, the only reason there's a federal income tax is so that you don't have the money to spend, because if you had that money to spend, it would make inflation even worse, because the more US dollars are spent, the higher the inflation goes, because that's the way it works. If you dilute the money supply, inflation goes up. All right, let's talk about the markets. I have a queued up video here from our good friend Matt Dixon. Matt Dixon, the great Matt Dixon. Just pop it right here. Get our market report from my main man, Matt Dixon. Matt and I have been working together for a long time now. Here we go.
Good morning, Bruce, and good morning, Impact Money viewers. We've got some really nice charts to look at today. So we'll begin with gold, and I've rejigged the count here. Not much difference in the overall expectation for the price, but I just wanted to try to logicalize the price movement that we've had so far. So it looks to me as though we're having what's called an ending diagonal in this blue 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which will complete a fifth wave within a wave 3. We would then expect a wave 4 pullback, and then following wave 4 pullback, we should get a further wave 5 to take us to brand new all-time highs for gold. And so an ending diagonal here, well, we can basically see it is made up of 5 waves. They normally stay within the boundaries of, some basically diagonal lines here. So we can see that the top of this wave, top of this wave, top of this wave, all reside within this overhead resistance line. And then the bottom touches here on the underlying support line. And I would expect that to continue. So we look as though from this wave 3 in blue that we've actually had 5 waves down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We may get a small miniature correction higher, and then a further 5 waves down, but it's not much lower. And then we should rise again to brand new all-time high. Now, this is a long-term resistance level that I've been expecting. It's actually a Fibonacci extension level that I've been expecting for gold for some time. And I think that's where we'll reach initially. It will be all-time high yet again. And I think, as I say, following there, we're going to get some kind of 3-wave pullback, most likely. It could potentially be a triangle, or it could be a combination of 3s. But basically, some kind of corrective move to the downside in a red wave 4 before we then get further upside in gold. So all in all, that's actually quite bullish for gold, even though we may have a bit of a short-term correction, but nothing to worry about. And actually may even be an opportunity to add to your positions. You know, if you are somebody who invests in gold or includes gold as part of your diversified portfolio, pullbacks are always a great opportunity to add to your positions. And this may be one of those opportunities. So that's my outlook for gold.
So while we're talking about that, I'm just going to talk really quickly about polka gold because polka gold is digital gold. Okay, and pullbacks are for buying, right? Pullbacks are for buying. So polka gold is backed by a group put this together. They're an anonymous group, and it's backed by Algorand. So they took a bunch of Algorand and all of the supply of polka gold. They locked it in a smart contract because you can't pull it out. Right now, it's currently impossible to counterfeit these coins. It's impossible to just make them up, and that's one of the reasons why we're big proponents of real gold, digital gold, and all of these types of things. So polka gold, polkagold.tech. This is I like for people to have a nice way in and a nice way out. We're on a nice dip with polka gold right now as they launched their Dalgo. They were one of the only projects, or one of the first projects, to launch a commodity or a meme coin themselves. They put about 10% of the total supply into Dalgo, the meme frog with the savvy business. And this is a fun meme coin that is on the Algorand system. Algorand was started by an Italian guy, a big supporter of the projects, both of them. And I am long on Dalgo and polka gold. And I think that both of them have this locked liquidity. So there is, as the markets fluctuate a bit and everything that's going on in the world, we have some movement up and down. And as our friend Matt was just saying, these can be buying opportunities. So not financial advice and all that stuff, but this is Dalgo. This is their meme coin that they've launched, and they have all the locked liquidity on that. And of course, Polka Gold, and Polka Gold was started as a reserve currency for the Polkadot community, the reserve digital commodity for Polkadot. Okay, on with the man here. And of course, we're long on gold as well. Okay, gold, I would like you to go, if you want to get some gold, silver, platinum, palladium, some gold, or some silver, platinum or palladium, go to at costmetals.com. At costmetals.com, use clubs as the, let me see here. I'm just looking for my thing. Here it is right here. Referral link is clubs. At costmetals.com, use referral link clubs with an S, to sign up there, and you can buy gold, silver, palladium, platinum at cost. Get it at cost there. And we do think that gold has a long way to go. I'm pretty excited about it. All right, let me continue here with the great Matt Dixon.
No reason to suspect that's not correct. And I will build all of my risk-reward strategy around that expectation. I'm going to jump into I think I'll jump into one that I traded a couple of times over the weekend and just recently today. Let me just expand this out so you can see what I've been doing. This is Book of Memes. And although it's supposed to be a meme coin, or it's named as a meme coin, it's not strictly speaking a meme coin. It does actually have utility. And I actually think it's a great investment because I love the liquidity it has. I can jump in and out of this token. And it also has great volatility. And traders love this kind of volatility. It also has a really nice, clear Elliott wave count that I think I've been using to trade very effectively. So, for example, from the bottom here, where we had a price of 0.06, we can see a wave 1 up in blue, and then a wave 2 down in blue. Then wave 3 in blue is made up itself of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And within that, you'll actually find some nice Fibonacci relationships as well. So what's interesting here is we actually had something called regular bearish divergence here. That was telling you to sell the price, Book of Memes here. So further bearish divergence signal telling you to sell again here. So the interesting point would be, where would you want to buy? Where would you want to buy back and close your position? You might have sold here. You might have even added to your sell position here, because they both showed bearish divergence, regular bearish divergence. And that was telling you an expected price reversal. We can see price going up here, and this bearish divergence signal coming in just here was telling you of a reversal to the downside. And again here, telling you of a reversal to the downside. And then when would you close your trade? It would be down here when we actually got hidden bullish divergence. So this was actually telling you, sorry, not hidden bullish divergence. Yeah, it is actually hidden bullish divergence. So we're basically getting a continuation of the price rise here, which is precisely what happened. So if you've gone short here and here, you'd have closed your short here when we got this hidden bullish divergence. So these were telling you of reversals. So the trend was up, it reversed down. The trend was up, it reversed down. Here, the lows were actually higher. And so we're actually expecting continuation of these higher lows. And this is why this one is basically hidden bullish divergence. So we did expect, and not only expect, I actually indicated in advance on X that I was going short here. So I did this on Sunday, went short Book of Memes, I covered it and closed it in nice profit. I did a couple of trades actually on the short side, made some nice profit there. And then this morning I jumped in, and again, I actually indicated in advance on my X feed at MD Trade. I said exactly when I went in short in this market, and price has jumped higher based on, well, a number of things, but I'm reasonably confident of this count. So wave 4 was likely to complete around here, because wave 4 of this larger degree in blue normally finishes within the territory of the previous wave 4 of lesser degree. So the wave 4 of lesser degree is this small red wave 4 here, and that's this territory here. And so the movement down here was an ABC correction. Once again, it moved down into territory of the previous wave 4. So on top of that, we got the nice divergence signal, hidden bullish divergence signal. But on top of that, we also had RSI coming into really nice territory to give lots of room for upside on this trade. If we've been right at the top like this, we know that the RSI is telling you price is probably getting close to exhaustion, which is what happened here. We were up here, price was exhausted, and we can see here as RSI came down, the price came down. And then we got just below halfway on RSI, price moved up. And again, we got the reversal again here. We got right up to on the verge of overbought territory on RSI, but more importantly, we got the bearish divergence signal here and here. And so those resulted in a couple of good profitable trades from Sunday and a great profitable trade this morning. Already that position can be covered. So you can guarantee a profit, as I say, even if it's $1, $10, whatever you want to cover. Depends on your trade size, your risk appetite, etc. These trades are personal, but the actual entry points are universal, whether you're whatever your situation. So as I said again yesterday, what I'm doing with the markets, I'm still bullish crypto in general. So my long-term positions, I actually look to buy dips in the market. So buy the lows. When we get a pullback, it's an opportunity for me to dollar cost average and buy in at a lower price at these dips, like here, for example, like here. Whenever I see a nice pullback, especially when it aligns with my Elliott wave count, it's an opportunity to add to my long positions. But short term, like for example here and here, I will often sell the market, but I'll still hold my long-term positions, my long buys in the market. I'll still be holding those. But what I might do is, if I take a short position here and here, what it means is I'm not losing any money on these long positions whilst the market's going down here, because effectively I've covered it with my short positions here and here. Now, this allows me to get the very most out of the market. If the price were just to move from here to, for example, here, I've only got the profit from here to here. But if I've basically gone from here to here, then I cover with a short position from there to there. I'm not losing anything while the market's going down. So my profit is actually from here to here. So I've actually maximized my profit from the market. I've taken the most really that the market can give me with the minimal possible risk. And it's all about managing your risk. All traders, if you're going to be successful longer term, I mean, you can be a successful trader short term with lucky trades, but that will not endure for the long term. So if you're going to be a long-term successful trader, you need to learn very well how to manage your risk. And this is one of the strategies that I use. It's effectively a kind of hedging strategy. When I'm expecting a pullback in the market, I'll cover my position, which is what I've done here and here. And then I'll close that short as I did here, took some profit on that, and then jump in with some more long, adding to my position here. And I'll cover that very quickly so that if it does go against me, as I say, I still take $1 profit, whatever it might be. So that's just in a nutshell, in general, what my strategy is. And it's very effective. I've been trading for 40 years now. I made a lot of mistakes early on in my trading career. I was perhaps lucky early on, made a lot of money. Then I lost a lot of money in the 87 crash and so on and so on. But over the years, you learn more and more that risk management is the key to long-term success. So that's what my expectation is. You can see here, I'm expecting a movement up to wave 5. That would be a completion of this cycle, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Following a 5-wave push to the upside, I'd expect 3 waves back. So I am expecting at some point a 3-wave pullback. But before that happens, I'm expecting more upside. So let's just have a quick look at dollar index and just see how that plays out. Because bear in mind, if we're expecting up here and then down, with dollar index, we're probably expecting the inverse. So we'd expect down with dollar index as this moves up, and then up with dollar index as this moves down. So as we flip over now to dollar index, we can see quite clearly that, again, it's been beautifully predictable. with the Elliott wave count that basically we measured from the top here down to the bottom here, and we just transposed it to the top of this wave, and it gave us the precise bottom of the next wave. That's what I've labeled support zone. So this was very clear. The measurement here equaled the measurement here precisely, and you can check that yourselves. But and as I said, I went through this on a previous Impact Money show, showing that the movement up here was corrective, and so we did expect a further movement down to the 100%. So the correction could potentially have been complete here, but once we realized that this movement up was corrective, we then could conclude that there's going to be a further movement down, most likely to below these levels here, which is exactly what happened to 100% of this move minimum. I mean, it can move beyond, but that's the normal target, is 100% of this, what I would label as an A wave. This is a B wave, and the C wave is normally equal to the A wave. That's the most common relationship. There can be others. There's no absolute certainty, but we trade on probabilities. And if we manage those probabilities with the right risk management, then we should make money. So what happened is we got the dollar index moving down here. Now we got a nice move up with dollar index. Well, basically overall, this move down gave us a positive move on cryptocurrencies. So we saw that nice move up on cryptos. Just recently, we've had a bit of a pullback on the crypto, and that's basically aligns with this movement up in dollar index. So remember I said they're inversely correlated. So when we see a movement up on dollar index, then we expect to see a movement down on crypto, which is precisely what happened. We're now seeing a bit of a correction move here, a bit of a correction down on dollar index. So we're probably, that's why we did have a little bit of a, basically a push up slightly on crypto. So I'll just flip back. I mean, I can use Book of Memes as well as any, I suppose. You can see we've had a good movement up on Book of Memes here, and then we're just pulling back a bit at the moment. So that inverse correlation is holding quite well. So back again to dollar index, sorry, I've got there to SPX, dollar index here. We would expect probably some further movement up reasonably soon, but right now we've almost got 5 waves up on the dollar index, so we're expecting a pull back. So remember, a pull back, you'd expect to get a pump higher in cryptocurrency. So remember what I'm expecting here, just sorry to be jumping back into, but I'm expecting to push higher in wave 5 on Book of Memes, and that does reflect across other cryptos as well. This is just a great example. So I'm expecting a push higher, and then with dollar index, I'm expecting a correction lower. So remember, again, just flipping back, Book of Memes, we'll get the push higher. That should finish this cycle. Then we get a correction down in 3 waves. So if we're getting a correction down in 3 waves, then on dollar index, basically, this is the, if we get a bit of a push down, that'll be the push higher in the 5th wave. And then we should push higher again with dollar index. And that will then cause us to pull down from the 5th wave in the corrective move with crypto, Book of Memes, Bitcoin, Ethereum, whichever. So jumping to Ethereum, that probably sort of primes us. And again, you can actually see the pattern here is very similar. We could potentially be working some kind of ending diagonal from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That may be the case, because I think that we're nearing the end of the 5th wave here. Also, same as Book of Memes, same as Bitcoin, same as most other cryptos. So if we're nearing the end of the 5th wave, I think that's probably going to coincide with the Ethereum ETF going live and what we mentioned yesterday about buy the rumor, sell the news. So I'm expecting that we'll push higher until we get the ETF going live. And then that's the news coming out. And then, as I said, we buy the rumor, which is all this movement up, buying the rumor. And then when the news comes out, we get a 3-wave correction back. It's not a terminal move down. It's not a serious move down. It's just a correction. It's exactly what happened with Bitcoin when the Bitcoin ETF went live back in January. When it went live, so we got a really good strong push up in Bitcoin. And then when it went live, we got a good pullback. And that's exactly what I expect we're going to see here on Ethereum. So we can trade this. and we can look at it in the context of the Elliott wave structure and other indicators that I use. As you know, particularly I look at RSI, I look at divergences. So for example, there's a divergence here, a regular bearish divergence here with price, and you can see price came down. So we got basically higher prices and corresponding lower RSI, telling you that the price was actually getting exhausted here. So after this big movement up, it's getting exhausted. Basically, we had well overbought RSI here, so it needed to have a correction down to relieve that overbought pressure here, which is precisely what we've seen. So, and again, that's continued for the time being. But we should get a push up as we near that. Well, in fact, we are getting the push up. We've got a nice green candle there, which is pushing up in the fifth wave, which is an impulsive wave, final fifth wave before we get the pullback, which is probably, as I say, going to coincide with this Ethereum ETF news. Then we get a three-wave pullback. But for me, if we get a nice three-wave pullback, that will be the most amazing opportunity to add to your positions in a number of assets. It won't just be Ethereum, it will be across the board, various assets. So again, just remembering, we're expecting the fifth wave higher. We'll jump over to Bitcoin, and we can see exactly the same picture with Bitcoin here. Again, we had very nice regular bullish divergence here, telling us price was going higher from this channel support, long held parallel channel. So we've got multiple indicators actually telling us price was going to rise, and it has done, and it's risen like Book of Memes. Actually, we've got a wave 1 up, 2 down, wave 3 is made up itself, a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're getting some kind of wave 4 pullback, and we're going to push up in a wave 5. Not quite sure at this stage how high it will go. Normally, the most common is that wave 5 normally equates roughly to wave 1. So I'm expecting somewhere in this sort of region. I'll be very, very careful, extremely careful about taking any long positions. If I take a long position somewhere down here, I would basically cover it very quickly to protect the dollar profit, because bearing in mind, this is going to be most likely the last wave of this impulsive cycle here. It's going to be the last wave we're in. So when you're in the last wave, things can turn around very quickly. You can get a spike higher and reversal very quickly. So I don't like trading the last wave, or if I do, I like to get in early and protect it immediately with just $1 guaranteed profit. And then no matter what happens, I'm going to collect a profit. But if it does go quite a bit higher, then I would actually then crystallize that profit and take a big profit, a decent profit. But caution is the order of the day, I think, particularly at the moment, at the late stage of this cycle. But then when we get the final fifth wave higher, once again, we expect at least a three-wave pullback, which will be, again, another amazing buying opportunity for Bitcoin, Ethereum, risk assets in general. So this is all setting up really nicely. The fact that we can actually see the wave structure so clearly, and actually every wave is working out nicely along with divergences and supports, then that gives me a lot of confidence, which is why I am still taking trades, but I'm protecting and closing them quickly. So I'm in kind of scalping mode at the moment. If we get a pullback, then I'll be looking at taking those longer term positions that I mentioned, which are basically adding to my long-term buys in the market, because I'm still bullish crypto and risk assets for the time being. So I'll always be looking to add to my long positions when we get a decent pullback. But short term, as I say, I'll often use this opposite trade strategy when I think the market's correcting down to take short positions, which actually balance my risk beautifully and ensure I'm not exposed to overexposure to the market. So that was Bitcoin. Gold's actually a very interesting chart. Yeah, we did actually go through that. So really nice, looking like an ending diagonal. We may get a bit of a bit of a pullback further, but again, new all-time highs. So just jumping straight over to oil, because oil is quite interesting. Bear in mind as well, we've got the Fed interest rate setting, FOMC interest rate setting meeting at the end of the month, the very last day of the month, on 31st of July. So we've got to keep that in mind, because that is going to provide a lot of volatility. It's going to provide direction for the market. So Here's another interesting example, by the way, with oil, that we could see the hidden bullish divergence here, where we basically got higher lows on price and got lower lows on RSI. That was telling you buy here, and we can see exactly what happens to price. That took us to overbought areas on RSI. Ideal situation is to potentially close your trade. Didn't really have any particular divergences there, but overbought RSI is probably a signal to say, okay, I made a really big profit here. We're overbought RSI. Might be time to close out my position. You may have closed out even earlier, but you'd have still taken even here a great profit from down here to up here. So that first overbought RSI signal might have been a great time to get out first of all. Now we're getting towards oversold territory. We're not quite into oversold, but if we dip into oversold territory, we've got a couple of support levels there. That might be an area to potentially dip your toe in the water and possibly go long oil. But that's a real possibility. So if you're an oil trader, I wouldn't touch it if it's something you're not used to doing. But I've traded oil, I've traded gold, I've traded FX, I've traded stocks, I've traded cryptocurrency. So I've traded most things over my multi-decade career. But I'm focusing mainly personally on crypto trading, but I do look at these. I still look at FX, even though I don't trade FX for the time being. I look at all these because there are great correlations, even if they're inverse correlations. So they all build together to give me a clearer picture of what's happening in the market. So I'll also keep an eye on SPX. So we can see here the S&P 500. It's amazing how it's actually working out as expected. So we got, I think, 5 waves down. We're getting some kind of B wave correction. Might just continue a bit. The thing about Elliott wave is it doesn't actually tell you much about timescales, but it does tend to tell you about price levels. So I can move these along. It's actually working out as expected. I said an A wave here was complete. I'd expect a bit of a push higher. I think we may be choppy and still continue within this B wave for a little while longer before we get a C wave down and then the push higher. So again, that could be aligning with the 5th wave higher I'm expecting in crypto, then ABC pullback, and then higher again. So again, these things, this is what I'm talking about with correlations. Even though it's a completely different asset, they're correlated because they're risk assets and are actually dependent on the amount of money that's washing around in the system. And that's determined by interest rates, the state of the economy, how much money people effectively have to spend on these assets. And that's why during times of money printing, like in COVID, like in 2008, when they had these episodes of quantitative easing, the QE that they talked about, money printing effectively, when there's a lot of money flowing in the system, because they're creating money, it had to flow somewhere. And that's why we saw the massive appreciation in all risk assets, because there's so much money flowing around in the system. So we'll just touch very briefly on a couple of others, because I know Bruce will have so much to talk about with the election, the political scene. So we'll touch very briefly. I always like to just have a quick look at Solana. Solana's looking really bullish again. I think we're probably on we're going to get a pullback again, a bit like the others. We'll probably get a final. This looks like a 3-wave pullback here, just opening it out a little bit. Looks to me like a 3-wave pullback. I think we're going to push up in a 5th wave, then we'll get that 3-wave pullback before another push to probably challenge those local highs that we had of 210, somewhere around there. So Solana, again, is just like another jigsaw piece fitting into the puzzle, looking really good. Just touch on Doge, because I know Doge, we always said probably a good buy around, I'm not sure what level we said actually, I think it was 10 or 12, somewhere around there, that we're talking about 10 or 12 cents on Doge that we always said was a good sort of buy level. Even if it's 12, we're well above that now. This was the level, sorry, I've even got it here. So I said whenever it dips below here, it's probably a buying opportunity. This was 10.7. We spoke about this on the Impact Money show probably a month or so ago, saying that this was a very, very good buy level, because from the top, we appear to have had some kind of ABC correction to the downside. I'll just have a quick measure of I'd just be interested to see. I'll measure 100% from top to bottom there, and I'll just transpose it. I don't think it aligns. Oh, okay, we got close anyway to the 0.786, which is actually another reasonably common retracement level. So it doesn't always go to 100%. As I said, that is the most common. But once we get to 0.786, you can start thinking that probably a reversal is on its way soon. This was a correction, some kind of ABC correction down, and now we're moving up quite nicely. Probably 5 waves to the upsides. We'll get a bit of a pullback before higher again. So even Doge is aligning with the big cryptocurrencies. We would expect probably, again, if we open it out here, it's looking exactly the same. From the top, a little ABC correction down. So we probably have another little push higher in a 5th wave before we correct this little cycle here, before we correct it down a bit. And once again, we'll be getting close to sort of an area where we might want to DCA again and buy in some more, add to our bags before the next push up. So at the moment, it's looking as though it's going to be continue. Despite some corrections to the downside, we'll get more upside to come. So again, as I always do, just to summarize, I think the market is providing opportunities. We're going to get a little bit more upside, probably a reasonably substantial ABC pullback, and that'll be the time to add to your long positions. But I'll be watching closely. I will be shorting if we see that 5th wave higher. I will be shorting the market, but again, being very cautious, because shorting is really a potentially very dangerous game. So you've got to be very, very careful. As I say, I normally short as a hedge against my earlier long positions, and I use it as hedging more than anything else. And that's probably the best way to use shorting, because shorting can be risky otherwise, unless you're using it as a hedge. So loads more we can talk about with other cryptocurrencies, but I hope that's given you a flavor of what to expect, particularly in the context of the upcoming Ethereum ETF going live and some short-term trading opportunities. So thanks so much for listening. Thank you, Bruce. Thank you, Impact Money viewers. Hope that's been helpful, and look forward to catching up tomorrow. Thank you, and bye for now.
Well, there you have it, folks. The great Matt Dixon with his market report there. A lot of great information in there. If you follow our signals, if you follow the signals that we talk about on this show, you historically are going to do pretty well. One of the ones that we are long on, and that I am long on, is this dog or flower. Dollar or it's trading as the purest dog meme on Ton. Ton is a big, thriving ecosystem. It is in the top 10 of the cryptoverse. And you can see they just have a great community here. All types of these little memes that they do. Dog or flower. It's dogorflower.com. Here's the website here. Dog or flower. Is it a dog or is it a flower? Meet or the most memeable dog on time in a world. Memes and dogs. We have seen huge communities formed. Doge, as they call it, I still call it doggy, and Shib have become the biggest meme coins. WIF, which is dog with hat, showed us that silly and cute is worth billions. This is the most memeable and adorable dog on Ton. Isn't that the truth? Ton in the Ton ecosystem is going crazy. Dollar or is unique, original, extremely memeable. This flower dog was born to take over Ton, and a growing community has formed. Join the Or family, but first, dog or flower. And they have directions here. It's dogorflower.io is the website. They have Greek directions on how to buy it right here. And just a fun meme coin. Everyone loves dogs. This is a great community. Community is the most important thing. You have to have people using this stuff. You gotta have people using it. Here, actually, I got my thing here. Dog or flower on Ton. Trades as or. Check them out. Fun people, wonderful community, and I really like this one. Dog or flower. Dog or flower. So yeah, guys, I mean, it's absolutely crazy town here in Washington, D.C. I would not be surprised if Biden does show up. I feel like all of these guys, all of them, have some people that come in and, either they wear the mask or they're just actors or whatever. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if he did show up. But if they are trying to push him out completely, and I guess I wouldn't be surprised either way. Certainly, once they decided that he could not win, they decided that he should go. And that seemed fairly obvious. And that's where we're at right now. So we live in a time where you can perform these coups and everything just basically over the media. There doesn't have to be a shot fired per se. Although, as we talked about a little earlier in the show, Sheila Jackson Lee is dead. She is dead. She was overseeing the Secret Service. This Secret Service woman, unbelievable, really. Her on the stand yesterday or in Congress, it was just really, I couldn't even really watch it, guys. I mean, I watched it enough just to be like, oh my gosh. I mean, it's Secret Service. It's just ridiculous. It is absolutely just ridiculous. And then, of course, we have, people and they, oh, wow, total savage mode. She tore her apart. Oh my gosh, this and that and the other. And it's all just for show. I mean, I'm not saying anything against Ms. Macy here. But like, if nothing happens, then it's all just a show. It's all just a show. I mean, do you guys feel like we're living in a show? Because I'll tell you what, I definitely feel like we're living in a show, some kind of simulation. It's all just for TV and stuff like that. I mean, what in the world? Why in the world is this woman allowed to continue to do this? I mean, of course, they all took her down, but nothing will happen. Like, fire her. Have her, I mean, holy crap, Rep. Fallon just buried Cheadle. Cheadle still hasn't visited the site after 9 days. She spoke to the agents involved 3 days after. The Secret Service encountered snipers were on the sloped roof, steeper than the shooters. And remember, she said that the reason they weren't on the roof was because it was steep. Now, here's the thing, guys. I firmly believe, or I don't know, firmly believe, but I certainly think that Cheadle is not the mastermind. Okay. So the thought that she's going to come in there, I mean, she had Secret Service detail as she walked in. First of all, why does she have Secret Service detail? Does anybody think about that? Oh yeah. And no DEI hires there. There were no DEI hires on her Secret Service detail. They were all big dudes. But why does she have Secret Service detail? And as I'm saying that, probably if she's not the mastermind, she's probably scared. She's probably scared for her life. She can't say the wrong thing or do the wrong thing. They just tried to assassinate President Trump, and Sheila's dead, and there's probably some other people. So, but if we don't do anything about anybody, then it just continues. And that's what we have right now. It's just this continuation of madness. Marjorie Taylor Greene, of course, had her. I mean, everybody had their 5 minutes. I mean, literally, everyone had their 5 minutes to lay into her, and she just sat there and took it, because what else? Like I said, what else she was going to be?
Does the Secret Service routinely record communications between and amongst detail?
Radio communications?
Any communication?
Email communications are captured, as well as text messages. And then depending on the detail, radio communications are recorded.
Does the Secret Service have recorded communications from the July 13th event?
We do not have radio communications from that day.
Does the Secret Service routinely record communications between and amongst detail?
How in the world do you know what I mean? It's just like the cover up. I mean, it's unbelievable, really. Radio communications. I mean, come on, guys. You know what I mean? And but we've seen this over and over again. like Congress, and they all get up there, and it's like DC is like Hollywood for ugly people. Nothing ever happens. Why does nothing ever happen? I'll tell you why nothing ever happens. Because they are not accountable to us. They're accountable to them. We got the magic electronic voting machines. We have the mail-in ballots. Absentee ballots, mail-in ballots, whatever you want to call them. Interesting situation with Kamala Harris, because I feel like if they let Kamala go ahead and be the nominee, then they have just kind of, okay, I mean, who knows? But I would venture to say that they've just decided that Trump is going to win, which I have been saying for quite a while. That's kind of the plan. But at the same time, I would not put it past them to, even if that's the plan, kind of like, okay, this is what we're dealing with, trying to pull it out at the last minute. But I think she would probably be the sacrificial lamb. She's a good sacrificial lamb, right? She's already there. Now, if they try to slide in somebody like Clinton or something like that, which I think is quite possible, then all bets are off. All bets are off. But like, even like, I don't know, these sound bites are just absolutely crazy. So here's her Secret Service detail, her Secret Service Cheadle, her Secret Service detail of big men. Wouldn't you have liked seeing these guys around Trump? Look at that, all big men.
You failed, Sheila, in assassinating Trump. You failed. Satan isn't all powerful. You're on the wrong side. You reap what you sow.
I don't know who was videoing that. I had to mute him before he. I don't know what he was going to say. Anyway, it's just crazy. I guess I'll play some of these things here. Let's see here. This video is from one of the windows. Secret Service had access to overlooking the entire roof. As you can see, they had complete coverage. I mean, the fact that we can't get anything done about this is just absolutely crazy. Here's Byron Donalds.
Some of my colleagues have texted me over the last couple days, bipartisan, about whether you should lose your job. And I've been quiet on that question because I wanted to see what you were going to do today. In my opinion, you do need to be fired immediately. And it is because this is gross incompetence. And the fact that it's been 9 days, and these are simple questions to answer. I'm quite sure if I asked any one of my kids if they got in trouble and I told them to give me the details, I would get more answers from them than I'm getting from you right now. And that's what's frustrating on a bipartisan basis, on a nonpartisan basis. This is a joke. And Director, you're in charge. And that's why you need to go. Mr. Chairman, I yield back. Some of my colleagues.
Cheadle admits the U.S. Secret Service does not have radio comms. I mean, that's just absolutely insane. This is Secret Service had this video that window covered. They had total view of this guy. Now, this is interesting. She admitted, and Alex Jones put this out, Secret Service director confirms more than one shooter. More than one shooter. And this is interesting because she said, Cheadle says only one counter sniper team took one shot. And there are multiple shots sounding differently.
Thank you. I just wanted to confirm there was only one counter sniper who took one shot. Is that
We had multiple counter sniper teams available
yeah, on the
that
premises,
day.
but is only one took one shot? Is that correct, or only one?
Correct.
Okay.
Because I'm quite sure somebody saw in under your organization, the Secret Service, I'm quite sure somebody saw the shooter on the roof. So what was the communication through the chain of command to deal with said person?
What I can tell you is that when the individual was identified by the counter sniper, they took one shot and neutralized that individual.
But that was after the shooter already took a shot. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So what you're saying now is that the Secret Service did not see the shooter on the roof until after the shooter took a shot?
I do not have all of those details at this time.
Have you talked to the agents on the ground that day?
Yes, I have.
You've talked to all of them.
Mhm.
Your senior team has talked to every agent that was on the ground that day.
Yes, we have.
Have they all corroborated the same time they identified the shooter, or they were made aware of the shooter either by attendees in the crowd or local police department?
There are a number of reports of when those times were made.
Was it
those
5 minutes
notifications.
before the first shot rang out?
No,
Generally speaking, was it 10 minutes before the first shot rang out?
no.
Was it 15 minutes before the first shot rang out?
It was less than that time frame when it was identified as a threat.
I think it's troubling for a lot of us that the number one question everyone in America is wondering is why was the roof left open? And after 9 days, we should at least maybe have a little bit of that information. And when you come to this committee hearing and you don't have anything to say about that, it's very, very troubling. Did you review the security plan for this event?
I personally do not review security plans for events that take place across the country.
Any of them?
We have a number of events that
Who's
take
the top
place.
level official who reviews the security plans?
There's a number of people that review security plans.
Who's
as they
ultimately
unfold.
responsible for signing off on a security plan?
It's a conjunction of personnel. There are people on the ground, there are supervisors on the detail, there are people at headquarters.
So there's not one person who says, okay, this is good. It's copacetic, we're going for it.
I think much in the way that we build our security plans, where they are
No doubt there's
multi-layered.
teams working different aspects of it, but ultimately, isn't there an individual who signs off on the plan?
Much like how we design our security plans, they're multi-layered. There are multiple layers.
So there's
of
no
people.
accountability.
There is
Is-
accountability, sir.
There's, this is whether it's the FBI or Fauci or anything, it's time after time after time, these multiple layers of accountability turn into layers of plausible deniability, and agency after agency after agency. That's got to be fixed, because you keep coming here and expecting, yes, you're saying I'm responsible, and you're accountable for it, but then there's nothing.
In my opinion, you do need to be fired immediately. And it is because this is gross incompetence. And the fact that it's been 9 days, and these are simple questions to answer. I'm quite sure if I asked any one of my kids if they got in trouble and I told them to give me the details, I would get more answers from them than I'm getting from you right now. And that's what's frustrating on a bipartisan basis, on a nonpartisan basis. This is a joke. And director, you're in charge. And that's why you need to go.
So Biden is, and it is, I mean, that was just some clips. I mean, it's, on and on. Like I said, though, it's just like, Hollywood for ugly people. So we'll see if Biden shows up today or doesn't show up. The CIA has been doing these masks for 30, 40 years that we know about. So there's really just no telling, even if he does show up, if it's really him. I mean, that's where we're at. Unfortunately, there's not really that much else that you can say. Here's some of the masks that the CIA has been using. And this was like 30 or 40 years ago. Check this out.
The mask is the culmination of a lot of work that we did at CIA over a period of, I'd say, 10 years, developing that technology. It was a big challenge to come up with something that finally actually animated and worked to really fool a person closer than 3-4 feet from you. But we did.
They learned the art.
We actually brought Hollywood back into our labs at one point to look at what we had done, and they were stunned. They're absolutely stunned.
Congratulations.
The fact that we're allowed to show it tells me the CIA have moved on. I don't know what they're doing. I shouldn't know. I'm dying to know, but I don't know.
Relax. You'll get to see it all later on.
So I'm proud to show people how good we got to that point and let them imagine. So what are they doing now?
Jana Mendez retired from the CIA as chief of disguise after more than 25 years with the agency. When she left in 1993, the masks they were making could not be detected in a face-to-face conversation. These declassified photos show Mendez in disguise while meeting with President Bush in the early 90s. Although she was there to brief the president on the new CIA disguise program, nobody in the room knew she was wearing a mask until she removed it. Imagine the advances that have been made in the last 30 years.
Crazy, right? And here's some more on this. This is
Tu étais, aime-moi, prends-moi dans tes bras, et je n'ai plus personne. Ne laisse pas ton odeur imprégner mes draps, et si tu m'abandonnes, je suis pas celle que tu crois. Aucun cabron ne m'a touché, à part toi, caballero, personne ne m'a touché. La cocaïne a pris ma famille. Tu étais, aime-moi, prends-moi dans...
we live in crazy times, guys. Well, I love doing the show. It gives, you know, I have done a lot of things over my life, a lot of different places. Grew up around some very important people, and it is great to share that information with you, and we can together talk about how we chart our way forward. Hopefully, we're going to be able to vote, and that's going to help. As I said at the beginning of the show, nobody is going to save you. Even if we are lucky and we're able to get Trump in, don't expect him to save you. Once he gets in, he's going to have a lot of people that are pulling at him for this, that, and the other. You saw what happened last time. All of a sudden, DACA was, you know, we had to have a heart, you know, after, you know, campaigning that we needed to, you know, deport all of these people. And, you know, that's once, you know, you have a lot of people around you that, that are, you know, talking to you. And if you only hear one side of the story, or you're only hearing one thing, then that is a lot of times that can influence what's going on as well. You know, we don't know what the other details are. We don't know a lot of those details. So don't there, even if we're lucky enough to get them in, that doesn't mean it's over. You're going to have to continue being involved. You're going to have to continue letting your voice be heard. There is no time probably in the rest of your life when you are going to be able to just relax. We're not at that point in history. More than likely, you're going to be fighting for the next foreseeable future, for the freedom of yourself and for the freedom of your kids, and the freedom of your grandkids. And hopefully you have kids and grandkids. And if you don't, then you should get to it, and you should make it happen, because that is what life is all about. That's what it's all about. What they told us over the years, and you had to have a job and this and that all goes away. It all goes away into nothingness. The corporation you work for doesn't matter. They don't care about you. They will leave you nothing. You will leave nothing in the world if you do not leave your kids. That's the long and short of it. And if you're a product of the generation and the propaganda, it's too late. I definitely feel for you. Don't beat yourself up over it. It is what it is. I'm also a product of my generation. I waited till I was 30. I knew the girl that I wanted to. I told my wife when she was 17 years old, she looked like she could be from my family. And then we both went on and we did all the other stuff that we thought we were supposed to do. And we got married at 30 years old, or when I was 30. She was 29, I was 30. Things may have been different, but I was a product of my generation as well. And, you know, that's the way it is. But now that we know what we know and we see what we see, understand that is not only we talk about the monetary revolution, but there's really a population revolution as well. It's not a revolution yet, but it should be. Okay. Because we need to have more kids. And that's how we can unseat these people that have taken control of us. The central bank can only lead to one thing, and that's debt slavery. They don't even have the money. They are just printing the money and they are taxing you for it. But they are giving the money unfettered, however much the government wants. And that's why we've given all these billions of dollars to the Ukraine and all these billions of dollars to Israel. And Netanyahu, I think, is going to be speaking today. And whether you like the guy or not, we need to be out from underneath these guys who are either all Israeli or kind of de facto Israeli, whether they have a passport or not. Most of them, I'm sure, do, if not all of them. But there's no other group in this bunch that owns the central banking cartel. So we're run by these people, and we got to fix it, guys. We got to get out of it. We can't be run by some foreign group of people, a cartel. We can't do it. We won't survive. And if you think that we will survive, look at what's happened over the last 75 years. Look what's happened over the last 100 years. In 1933, they confiscated everyone's gold. They don't even teach you that in school. They gave it to these guys. They gave all the gold. They confiscated all the gold, all the citizens' gold. They said it's a $10,000 fine if you don't give us your gold. Teddy Roosevelt helped him do that. Did it by executive order, and they gave all of the gold to the Federal Reserve. Federal Reserve started in 1913. We have to end the Fed. We have to unseat these people in power. We will not be free until we free ourselves of the central banking cartel, the Federal Reserve in this country. Love you guys. It's always a pleasure. Love doing the show. I will be back on in a few hours later.
Your voice is powerful. When combined with social engagement, it's a force for change. Decentralized media paired with free speech is the catalyst for an empowered world and a unified, invaluable ecosystem. Join Global Boost, become a champion of free speech, and help to reshape the future of media.